Hey and welcome, this time it's more Overwatch, where I'm taking a closer look at Pharah. So Pharah, she's all about them rockets. I think Blizzard internally labeled her the Rocket Queen. And this is pretty fitting for her playstyle, as she pretty much has every skill, has something to do with rockets, from rocket jump to normal rocket shoots, to her ultimate which is more rockets, and even her E ability is a small rocket which can blast enemies apart. But all this rocket shooting is what sets her apart from other offense heroes, as in comparison to, for example, a Soldier or a McCree. She has a slow moving projectile as her main attack, in form of those rockets obviously, which gives the opponent time to anticipate those rockets, and not just that, but also judge from where the rockets came from. So when you shoot at an enemy as Pharah, with the trail of the smoke of the rocket, the enemy obviously knows where Pharah is right now, or was right when she shot this rocket. So it's easy for them to spot Pharah, which makes her a bit vulnerable, especially with her ability to fly in the air. So she's most of the time out in the open, in the sky, where she can be shot at from long range heroes as opponent Soldier or a Widowmaker, and can be easily dealt with. This means a good Pharah player has to judge if it is right now possible to fly into the air to get a higher viewpoint and a better angle onto your opponents, or if it is better to stay on the ground, hide behind your tanks, and fulfill more of a role like a solid damage dealer and just shoot the rockets and add to the team's damage. So when I had to label her role within the team, I would say she's a hybrid between solid damage dealer when she stays on the ground and just hides behind the tanks, and then she could be a flanking / assassin hero when she uses her high mobility of her rocket jump to get behind enemy lines and maybe throw her ultimate into the enemy team from the backside where they don't anticipate it. So all this flexibility in her role is represented in her playstyle as well, as she's so flexible that it is almost like switching off to another hero without switching to another hero, as you can at one moment in the team fight can stand behind your tank and just shoot your rocket straight up onto the enemy shield, and then in the next moment when you think it is possible, you go up into the air and try to go into a flanking position, maybe to shoot behind the enemy Reinhardt shield, or get a turret which is in a very good spot so the normal damage dealer can't reach it, or even try to get into a position where you can use your ultimate onto the enemy support. And while you are doing those decisions and movements to other positions, you can pretty much always add to the team's damage, as you have those very long range AoE rockets which you can just shoot constantly at the enemies. Even though with all this change in position you won't be able to finish off opponents consistently, it's not all that bad, as you are constantly adding your damage to the overall output of your team. So you contribute to keeping the whole HP points of the enemy team low. This is pretty much the job of Pharah, and then obviously when she can, finishing off opponents with her rockets, or even her E ability, which allows for environmental kills when you blast enemies off the map, which is quite funny. And her ultimate is very powerful as well, in the right situation obviously, like every other ultimate. So I think that's about it. If you liked the video, hit the like button. If you want to see more content like this, hit the subscribe button. Other than that, thank you for watching, and maybe see you in the next one. Allows your main group to fight against less enemies, because the Tracer is circling the point and gets killed and tries to make the job for your main group easier. When we look at the same scenario from the defender's point of view, we get a drastically different goal from what the attackers have, as we don't need the goal to